IVM.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach Podcast, the bite-sized podcast filled with quick and easy actionable habits. Remember, great habits create that awesome life. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach. And today's fun fact of the day has to do with poor kings. Did you know that there is such a thing as poor kings? It is impossible to hold these two ideas in our mind, right? A king and being poor. Let's look at the disparity between the current monarchs of Europe alone. The richest monarch in Europe is Prince Hans Adam of Liechtenstein. He has an estimated net worth of 4.4 billion euros. Now compare that to the poorest monarch in Europe, King Philip of Belgium, who has an estimated net worth of 12 million euros. Just look at that vast disparity. Both are monarchs, yet such a huge gap when it comes to the wealth that they have. And we are so quick to evaluate ourselves with someone else using money as a measure. It is an easy measure. Numbers don't lie. They are fairly black and white. The problem comes when you measure money and compare yourself to someone else. Remember, we just spoke of the richest monarch in Europe having a net worth of 4.4 billion. Now compare him to the richest in the world, the King of Thailand with a net worth of 44 billion. That's 10 times more. And they are both kings. Finally, compare that to Elon Musk with a net worth of 160 billion. And he isn't even a king. I hope by now you are feeling this entire exercise of comparing net worths as being meaningless. I hope by now you're thinking, Ashdin, get to the point. Where are you going with this? And that is exactly what I want you to feel. Comparing your net worth with someone else is completely useless. It's a meaningless exercise. And this is because being broke or poor is a thought, a feeling that we have in our body. We so often meet people and instantly compare ourselves with them. We see their designer bags and compare. We see their fancy cars and compare. This comparison and feeling of being poorer than someone else is probably a deep-rooted thing in our psyche. We have to do everything in our power to try and get rid of this. Comparison is a killer when it comes to money. We had a family friend who was insanely well-to-do and had a lovely, thriving social life. His business unfortunately went through a bad patch, and as a result, he had to economize. He stopped going on holidays with his friends because he could not afford first-class tickets that all his friends were flying, and he had to fly business class instead. Now you're probably thinking, what is wrong with him? Business class is superb. But you understand, he was just comparing himself and hence felt lesser than his friends. And this is just poor as a feeling. The worst form of poor is when you have a poor mindset. This is when everything you do, you evaluate using one phrase: I can't afford that. This is the most dangerous sentence for your financial health and even your mental health. This is followed up with statements like, money doesn't grow on trees. Where will I get that money from? See, your subconscious mind is consciously picking up these signals. It is focusing so much on what you do not have, what you cannot afford, that life is passing you by on all the things that are beautiful and things that you can afford. Money becomes the center of your life and you stop appreciating the things that you have. Your mind shuts down. You're unable to think of ways you can earn the money for the things that you want. Instead, you're stuck with I can't. When you say you can't, you are blocking yourself from ever being able to in the future as well. You're literally not welcoming money into your life. The same person who constantly complains about not having enough money is the same person who will refuse money if it came to them. Oh, I can't afford to take that. I have done this as an experiment. You must try it. A poor mindset does not welcome money into their life. The truth is that you can be broke in the bank and still have a rich mindset. A mindset looking for opportunities to grow. A mindset that is welcoming money into your life. A mindset that is looking towards the future and is fully aware of all the possibilities that exist out there. A person who can have a great time with people far richer than them without feeling odd. A rich mindset is not one where you try and buy as much as possible, where you max out your credit cards and find it difficult to pay them back, or you take loans that are difficult to pay back. A poor mindset is a closed mindset, a mindset built on lack. A rich mindset is a growth mindset, a mindset built on abundance. This is such an important habit for us to inculcate into our future generations. Our children need to grow up with a rich mindset. So your simple habit to get out of this poor mindset into a rich mindset starts by adding one word to the end of a sentence. Every time you see something that you want but you currently can't afford, say, I cannot afford this yet. A simple word like yet keeps the mind focused and thinking of ways in which you could afford it soon. It is growth oriented. You are growing into the person who can afford it. Every time you feel the need to compare yourself with a friend, say, I can't do it yet. I will soon be able to. The difference between a person who is rich and a person who is poor is not their bank balance. It is their mindset. So start these habits and share with us your progress using the hashtag #TheHabitCoach. If you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcasts on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. You can find lots more information on my website, awesome180.com, or check out different content on my YouTube channel called AWESOME180. That's Awesome180.
I hope you enjoyed that show. If you aren't following us on social media, please do. We're IVM Podcasts on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Would like to thank the sponsors on the network this week. Siad, we really do appreciate your support. We have a new show on the network. It's called The Fighting Goat. And if you love fighting sports, tune in every Wednesday with hosts Arjun and Somesh. They also featured, by the way, on Cyrus Says this week, where the three fitness freaks bonded over their love for TV sports and sports in general. Tune in to This Round Is On Me, where Gauri celebrated her 25th anniversary with Kavita Rajwade, who is my co-founder at the IVM Podcast Network. They give us details about how this show was curated, and they talk about podcasts in general. On The Habit Coach, Ashdin highlighted our addiction to screens, how we are glued to either a big laptop screen or a small mobile screen all day. He shared some tips on how to rectify this unhealthy lifestyle. On All Things Policy, Anirudh Kanisetti spoke to Pratik Vagre and Rohan Shet about the new internet guidelines that were issued by the Government of India recently and their impact on content creators and platforms. On the Filter Coffee podcast, Karthik invited Vivek Ram, who is a celebrated animation artist. They chatted about his stint with animation and starting his own studio called Vanar Sena, bringing to life stories from ancient India and his scriptures with animation as his vehicle. We had Dhanya Rajendran, the editor of the News Minute, on the Note with Maruk Inayat. It was a deep dive into the digital newsroom and the upkeep of truth in a fake news pandemic. And with that, we hope to see you again next week.
From uncensored and unfiltered chats with the who's who of the entertainment industry, I, Siddharth Kannan, bring your very hardcore chat show called Candid Kannan. Tune in every Friday on the IVM Podcast app or wherever you get your podcasts.